Hi there, Mark Wallace here, and welcome to the second video in Smart Recurring Income. This video we're going to be talking about mindset and the 5 success principles. And a nice little quote there: the successful warrior is the average man with laser focus. And obviously these introductory modules are all about getting in the right mindset, getting focused, setting goals, and as I've mentioned, it is I personally believe it's the number one skill that anyone has to learn when they're looking to make money online, or when they're looking to set up their own business more than anything. And that's why we're covering this in quite a lot of depth throughout this training course. Okay, so let's move on. So the five success principles, shall we say? Okay, number 1. Know what you want, why you want it, and make sure your desired outcome is ecological, i.e. good for you and for the people that you care about. And you have to be very clear about this. And at the end of this video, I'm going to ask you to go away and do a task for me, and I would like you to complete that task and send it back to me so that I can have a look over it. And ultimately that kind of makes you accountable to me, and it makes you want to work. You know, the very fact that you're having to write something down is going to kind of make you accountable to me, which is great. So first and foremost, you've got to know what it is you want and why you want it. Okay, then you've got to do, obviously. You know, you've got to take action. You've got to take action to make your outcome happen. It goes without saying that nothing is going to happen unless you do something. Makes sense. But when you take action, the results you get, whatever they are, provide useful information that we can learn from. Whether that be a successful action or a failed action or outcome. It doesn't matter. Failure is a good thing. We can learn from our mistakes, as everyone has said in the past. We've got to notice. So, notice the results you get from the actions that you take. Are the actions that you're taking you closer or further away from your desired outcome? Okay, so it's all about thinking about the processes. We've got to know what we want, then we've got to actually do something about it. Take notice of the actions that we're taking, whether they are working or whether they're not working. We've got to be flexible. Okay, if what we've been doing isn't working, let's look at doing something else. And it's all a question of trial and error. Okay, I've made mistakes in the past, but I've learnt from my mistakes. And as I've said, there's no point in doing the same thing 100 times over, because you're only going to get the same results. If you change tack ever so slightly, you're going to get a different result. And maybe that different result is taking you towards your desired outcomes. Okay? And psychology and physiology. So mind and body are one system. So you want to get in your best possible state. That could include breathing, it could be your posture, it could be the way you think, it could be your emotions. We get these things right and then we take action. And you know, posture plays a big part in it. If you're slouching in your desk, in your chair, then you're not alert, you kind of slumped, and your breathing's more difficult because obviously you're sort of closing your lungs a bit, you're struggling a little bit to breathe, you're slouching in front of the desk. You know, it's not a positive way to sit. I personally sit on like an ergo chair, which doesn't have a back, so it means that I have to engage my core all day. So I sit up straight, and it sounds daft, but that one investment in a small chair cost me something like $60 or so. It made a big impact into my productivity throughout the day, because I was alert more, I was sat up more, I was having to actively engage my stomach muscles and my core muscles to stay upright. If you think negative thoughts, oh, I'm never going to get this done, oh, there's so much work in front of me, you're in a negative mindset. You're not even going to bother starting something because you've already got a negative association with it. So all these things play a massive part in your success. So you get these things right and start working on them, and you will notice your productivity increase massively. Okay? So you've got to know what you want. Okay? You want something that you do not have in your current state. That goes without saying. Okay, and it could be your personal life, it could be your business life. But at the moment, you obviously want to have more money in your life through working in your internet business. If we set outcomes, and by setting outcomes, we become aware of the difference between what we have and what we want. Okay, and the difference is the problem, in inverted commas. When you set an outcome and are clear about the desired state that you want, it becomes easy to plan and make the journey from one to the other. Okay? And just by the pure process of setting outcomes, you kind of become proactive and you take ownership of the problem that you have and you start to move towards the solution. Okay? When you do not know what you want, and this is so true, and when I read this first in one of the many books that I've got, it rang so true with me, and it'll ring so true with you, and it just makes complete sense. So when you don't know exactly what you want, you don't know what your exact outcomes are, there are countless people who are only going to be too delighted to set you to working to get their outcomes. Think about it. If you're in full-time employment, you're not working for your outcomes. You're working to pay the bills, pay the rent, send the kids to college, whatever it may be. You're effectively working for your boss's outcomes. And when you think about it like that, it makes you sort of stand back and go, oh my God, I'm working to help someone else achieve their goals. So when you think about it like that, and when we start to look at setting our own outcomes, we start working towards what we want and not someone else wants. Okay? So, to solve a problem, have an outcome. Okay, so this is where we are at the moment. This is the present state. This is where you are, but you don't want to be. We add some resources into the mix. Then we reach our desired state. And this diagram looks incredibly simple, but that is effectively what it is. You are here. This is your present state. You don't want to be here. If we have some resources at our hand, i.e. like this training course, you can then, once you work through those resources and implement the teachings and strategies, you then reach your desired state, which could be more money to pay the mortgage off quicker, to buy the car, to take the kids on holiday, whatever it is. Okay? So that is what all this first section and first module in Smart Recurring Income is all about. So, you obviously want to change, otherwise you wouldn't be sat here watching this video. Okay? To be successful, you've got to ask yourself the following. What am I moving towards? Okay, so what is your desired state? Where do you want to be? Why am I moving? So what are the values that guide you? How are you going to get there? What strategies are you going to implement to get there? Resources. What if something goes wrong? Okay, so there's got to be some risk management in there. And this is where most people fall down. If something goes wrong, particularly in the online world, they think that it's impossible to make money, and then they go and buy another shiny object that takes them further away from their desired state. And it's a vicious circle, and it happens time after time after time. So you've got to think in outcomes, okay? Outcome thinking. You've got to decide what you want in a given situation. Outcome orientation. Consistently thinking in outcomes and having direction in your life. Until you know what you want, what you do is going to be aimless and your results are going to be random. It's kind of like, being blindfolded and trying to shoot at a target. It's completely aimless. Occasionally you'll hit the bullseye. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be a million miles off the mark. So think about exactly what you want. Is it $5,000 a month? Is it an extra $10,000 a month? Is it, a $200,000 a year business? What do you want? Think about exactly what you want and why you're here taking this course. Most people think in terms of problem thinking. Okay. We see what is wrong and then we allocate a blame to it. So questions like, what's wrong? How long has it gone on for? When did it start? And when people think in terms of problems, it becomes a big issue and it makes the problem even harder to solve. And problems are difficult because the very act of thinking about them make you feel bad and less resourceful. As I just said, problem thinking makes the problem even harder to solve. So you want to think in terms of your overall outcomes, and you want to be positive all the time. And I know that can be incredibly difficult, being positive and upbeat all the time when things are going wrong and you've made a bad judgment call on something and everything seems against you. But thinking in problems and being negative about the issues that you're facing isn't stoking the fire, so to speak. It's making you think negatively about what it is you're doing. And I just want you to think about the outcome all the time. Think about the outcome. Think about the outcome. And if you can think about the outcome often enough, you're going to start working towards it a lot quicker. So I've got a quick task for you this week. This isn't the end of the video, by the way, but I want you to structure your outcome. I want to ask yourself the following questions. Okay, I want you to think them through in great detail. I want you to document your answers in a journal, on a mind map, on a Word document, whatever it may be, and have them accessible all the time so they're close to you. Your outcomes are close to you, okay? And trust me, if you do this, your outcome will become, it's going to become realistic, it's going to become achievable, and it's going to become motivating. You're going to be motivated to want to achieve your outcomes. So, think about, what do you want? Okay, so what is it that you want? What evidence is there to support that you're going to get this outcome? How will you know that you're succeeding or have been successful? So document that. Specifics, where, when, and with whom. So where do you want the outcome? Where specifically? And again, don't worry about this. I'm going to go into these in more detail over the next few slides. Resources. What resources have you got to help you achieve your specific outcomes? Control. Can you start and maintain the outcome? Ecology. So what are the wider consequences of you looking to achieve your particular outcome and goals? How are you going to achieve them? How do the outcomes fit together? And taking action. And that's what it all boils down to. What do you do next? You've got to have some sort of action plan. And this is what I want you to write down in your outcome thinking, an outcome report. Okay? So, let's go through them in a bit more detail. So, positive. What do you want? Outcomes have to be expressed in a positive manner, okay? And positive means directed towards something you want, rather than away from something you wish to avoid. So, I want you to ask yourself, what do you want, not what do I not want or want to avoid, if that makes sense. So an example of this could be losing weight and giving up smoking are negative outcomes, which explains why so many people fail. Giving up, you're failing at something. Losing, you're failing at something. And when you understand this and get that mind shift, it becomes very easy to state things in the positive. So a positive outcome could be, for example, if you want to reduce your debt, you set an outcome to improve your cash flow. And it's just a play on words, but that little play on words is stating something in the positive as opposed to the negative, like losing or giving up. Okay? Evidence. How are you going to know you're succeeding? It's important to know that you're on track for your particular outcome. You've got to have feedback along the way. So when you set your outcome, you've got to think about how you're going to measure your progress as well. How do you know you're on track to achieving that particular outcome? Okay? And you've just got to think about things. There are two kinds of evidence. One is feedback as you progress towards your outcome. The other is evidence having achieved your outcome. And just think about things. How do you know you're going to be on track? So, you want to get online. You want to set up a website. Have you set up your website? Is it online? Have you got a squeeze page set up? Have you found your market? Do you know who you're marketing to? Is the website actually online? That's evidence of you having achieved something. And if you take it in small, bite-sized chunks, then it becomes much easier to achieve smaller little outcomes along the way. If you say to yourself, I need to have a website online and 10,000 subscribers by next week, you're not going to achieve that. But if you break it down into small, bite-sized chunks, the evidence is there as you move along and knock off each section along the way. Okay? Specifics: where, when, and with whom. So where do you want the outcome? Specifically, there may be places and situations where you do not want it. Okay? When do you want it? You must set a deadline and work backwards from that deadline. So set a deadline. I need to have my website and market chosen. I need to have my market chosen by 3 weeks on Tuesday, which is the 20th of July, whatever it may be. And then you work backwards from that date, so you know what you have to achieve in that time. Make sense? Do you want to work with someone in particular? Who do you want to work with? It might be someone in a particular marketplace. If you're going into a niche market and you've been following someone's blog for a couple of years, a few months, or whatever else, do you want to work with that person? Do you want them to have any input in your website? Well, if so, document it. Be specific. Resources. What resources do you have? Okay, list everything you've got. And they're going to fall into 5 categories. Some are going to be more relevant than others, depending on your outcome, but this is a quick overview. Okay? So, object. Do you have any particular equipment? PCs, laptops, any technical stuff that you need. So screen capture stuff, like I'm using for this particular video at the moment. Any books, any courses that you've purchased in the past. Those are all objects that you can utilize to help you achieve your outcome. Are there any people, friends, or colleagues that you want to utilize to help you reach your outcomes? It might be family, and it might be something as simple as you need to tell your family that every evening between the hours of 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. you're going to be locking yourself in the office and you don't want to be disturbed. That is helping you achieve your outcome. So you need to tell people. Friends, likewise, you may need to, if you go out mountain biking with them on a Saturday, maybe for the next few months you're going to have to knock that on the head for a little while, or maybe join them a little bit later. Things like that you've got to think about. Are there any role models? So who's succeeded in getting your outcome previously? Can you connect with these people? Can you talk to these people? Has it been documented anywhere that you can follow, which again comes into objects, books, equipment, courses, and so on and so forth. Personal qualities. So what qualities do you have or need to develop? So think about your capabilities and skills in particular areas. Has your career or your hobbies led you to develop any specific qualities and skills that you may be able to bring to the mix to help you achieve your outcomes? And money, unfortunately things cost a little bit of money. Most things can be done with a little bit of elbow grease, but there's certain things that you have to purchase, and it might be some outsourcing, it might be some website building, it might be some graphics, it might be some traffic, but the beauty about the online world is we don't have to spend a ton of money to get some results. Okay, so again, just think about what resources you have. Control. Can you start and maintain this outcome? How much of it is actually under your control? What can you do? What can others do to get this outcome? Who's going to help you? So again, that goes back to your resources and potentially outsourcers. And ask yourself, what can you do directly to get the outcome? How can you persuade others to help you? Maybe it's a profit share. Think about that. And what can I offer that will make them want to help me? So again, profit share or another favour. Or sharing some skills that you may have. You may be a fantastic copywriter. They may be a fantastic website builder. So, is there a crossover somewhere? You can help them, they can help you. Ecology. So what are the wider consequences? How much time and effort is this outcome going to need? Everything has an opportunity cost. And spending time and effort on one thing leaves other things neglected. So if you're spending time and effort building your online business, certain things may have to fall by the wayside, like I said. It might be a little bit of family time, it might be a little bit of social time, it might be a little bit of getting up in the morning before work, working from 6 a.m. till 7 a.m. But if you want it that badly, you will do it, okay? Who else is affected and how are they going to feel? Spouse, partners, work colleagues, and again, you just got to think about it from their perspective as well. What are you going to have to give up when you achieve this outcome? Or along the way to achieve this outcome? And again, it may be sleep, it may be social time, it may be drinking time. Just think about it. What is good about your present situation? What do you want to keep? What else would happen when you get your outcome? There are always, always, always secondary consequences. And when we're writing our outcome plan, you've got to incorporate all these things because they're all worth thinking about. And how do they fit together? So, you know the answer to that already. How do you eat an elephant? And I should have come in with one bite at a time, but you got it all at once there. But it's very true. You take it in small, bite-sized chunks. You can't do everything at once, so stop trying. Small, bite-sized chunks. And if your outcome is too large, you've got to list all the obstacles that prevent you from getting it and set smaller outcomes to get over these barriers. Ask yourself, what prevents me from achieving this outcome? When the outcome is too small to be motivating and you feel bogged down with details, ask yourself, what does this small outcome get for me? If you connect the details to the larger, more motivating outcome, it becomes more motivating to achieve the smaller little stepping stone outcomes along the way. And your action plan. Put your plan through the questions that I've just listed. Once you've done that, you are ready to act and ready to start moving forward. And a lot of people don't write their outcome plans, okay? And if you don't write an outcome plan, how do you know when you've got to where it is you want to get to? You don't. And that's why people are just wandering around in the dark, aimlessly, not getting anywhere online and in business. And these questions should be the foundation of any new project that you undertake. Online, offline, in business, in personal life, whatever. If it's about losing weight, write yourself an outcome plan and work backwards from a deadline. And without solid, predetermined outcomes, you're going to wander aimlessly around, you're going to shoot, and you're going to miss the target every single time. Okay? So again, that's it for this quick video. And again, I thank you for your attention. But I don't want you to just think, okay, cool, another interesting video, Mark. Don't just think it. And this is cheesy, I know, but ink it. Put it down on paper. Take out a sheet of paper. Write a journal. Something that you can keep close to and refer to all the time. Think about what you really want, your desired outcome, and answer the questions we've just been over. I want it in detail, and I really want you to think hard about your answers. And it is going to be difficult, and I don't just want a wishy-washy, you've spent 10 minutes writing something down because you think it's what I want. This is about you, it's not about me, okay? Spend time on this. If it takes you 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or a week, it doesn't matter. It's 100% worthwhile, so I expect you to be doing this, okay? And once you've done that, I want you to send your outcomes to me. Send them to this email address here, mark@markwallacemarketing.com. I will pick them up and I will read them. Okay, so you are being accountable to me. I'm making you do some work. You're here for a reason, and that reason is you like the way I teach, you like what I do, therefore I want you to do some work. Okay, you are now accountable to me, so I want you to write down your outcome plans, send them through to me. There'll be a couple of resources in the members area that can help you along the way, but spend some time and put them down on paper. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.